4 years I've been retired in the Philippines, and I'm going to tell you the best thing about it. But I need to warn you, it's not the thing you think it is. It's not the cheap rent. It's not the beaches. It's not even the money, although the money part is real and I'll get to it. The best thing about retiring out here on a small pension is something I didn't even understand for the first year and a half. And when I finally figured it out, it changed everything about how I live. Let me explain. My name's Gary Collins. I'm 66 years old. I spent 34 years as an electrician in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Union guy. IBU Local 81. I wired hospitals, shopping centers, apartment complexes. I crawled through ceiling spaces that hadn't seen daylight since the Nixon administration, and I pulled cable in January when the copper was so cold it burned your hands through the gloves. I raised a daughter, got divorced when she was 9, kept the house, which meant I kept the mortgage and the property taxes and the furnace that needed replacing, and the roof that was always one bad winter away from being a problem. And I paid it all, every month, every year, for decades. Not because I loved the house, because the house was what you did. You worked, you paid, you maintained, you went to sleep, and you got up and did it again. I retired at 62, filed for Social Security the first week I was eligible, and I don't care what the financial advisors say about waiting. I know they've got charts and graphs that show you'll get more at 67. I've seen them, but here's the thing those charts don't account for. They don't know when you're going to die, and they don't know what those 5 extra years of waiting are going to cost you in years you'll never get back. I had a buddy, Rick Kowalski, work the same local I did. Rick was going to wait till 67. Rick had a plan. Rick died at 64. Heart attack in his driveway, still holding his car keys. His plan didn't work out, so I pulled the trigger. My check after the Medicare Part B deduction is $1,847 a month. That's it. That's the whole show. No pension because the union fund got restructured in 2014, and I was on the wrong side of the cutoff by 2 years. No 401k worth talking about because the recession ate most of it, and I never rebuilt it. Just the Social Security. $1,847. Now, in Scranton, $1,847 gets you a one-bedroom apartment that smells like the previous tenant's cigarettes, a gas bill that makes your eyes water from November to March, and the pleasure of deciding whether this is the month you get the prescription refilled or the month you get the car inspected. That's not retirement. That's survival with a different schedule. A buddy of mine from the job, a guy named Dennis Navarro, he'd married a Filipina and moved to Cebu, and he kept sending me these pictures. Him at the beach on a Tuesday. Him eating this massive plate of food that cost $4. Him grinning like a man who'd gotten away with something. And one night after a shift that ran 14 hours because somebody had wired a panel wrong and I had to fix it in the dark, I called Dennis and I said, "All right, tell me everything." I came for 3 weeks. I want you to hear that clearly because it matters. 3 weeks. I had a return ticket. I had my mail held. I told my daughter I'd be back before Easter. I landed in Cebu, spent a few days with Dennis, and then he said, "You should check out Dumaguete. Quieter, cheaper, college town, good people." So I took a bus and a ferry, and I ended up in this little city on Negros Island, where the acacia trees lean over the boulevard, and the whole town smells like grilled pork and sea salt in the evening. I found an apartment, $190 a month. Tile floors, a working kitchen, an air conditioning unit in the bedroom, and a balcony where I could sit and watch the street and drink my coffee and not hear a single siren, not one, for the entire morning. I extended the ticket. Then I extended it again. Then the return ticket expired, and I didn't buy a new one. And somewhere in there, without ever making a formal decision about it, I just stayed. 3 weeks became 3 months. 3 months became a year, and now I'm sitting here 4 years in, and the boat I came over on has quietly sunk behind me. But I didn't come here today to tell you about the money or the math, although I'll walk you through it, because you deserve to see the real numbers. I came here to tell you about something I didn't expect to find over here, something nobody talks about in the expat videos. And it starts with the worst habit I brought with me from America, Dumaguete. They call it the city of gentle people, and I thought that was just marketing until I lived it. It's a university town, maybe 130,000 people, sitting right on the Bohol Strait, where you can see the next island from the shore. There's a boulevard along the water called Rizal Boulevard where families walk in the evening and somebody's always got a guitar and there's always a kid selling barbecue on a stick for 15 pesos, which is about 27 cents. I rent a one-bedroom in a barangay called Bantayan, a few blocks off the water. $190 a month. My landlord's name is Mang Celso, a retired school teacher who lives downstairs with his wife Nane Feli, and between the two of them I have never once needed to call a repairman because Mang Celso shows up before I even know something is broken. He can hear a dripping faucet through the floor. The man has radar for plumbing problems, and Nane Feli brings me champorado, this chocolate rice porridge, on Sunday mornings because she decided early on that I don't eat enough. I eat plenty, but you don't argue with Nane Feli. My days are simple, and I've come to love simple in a way that would have confused the younger version of me. I wake up without an alarm. After 34 years of a 5:15 alarm that sounded like a fire truck backing over a cat, waking up on my own time still feels like a miracle. I make coffee. Local stuff. Barako beans from Batangas that could strip paint off a wall, but it's the best coffee I've ever had. I sit on the balcony. I watch the street. Tricycles buzzing past, kids walking to school, the bread vendor rolling through on his bicycle ringing that little bell. A woman named Aling Tess runs the Sorry Sorry store on the corner, and she waves at me every single morning like I'm doing her a favor by existing. I wave back. Around 8, I walk to the public market. My fish lady, her name is Ate Perla. She saves me the good bangus, the milkfish, and we go through the same little dance every time. She names a price, I make a face, she makes a face back. We settle on exactly what we both knew it would be, and then she throws in a couple of extra pieces, because that's what she does. The whole morning's marketing: fish, rice, vegetables, tomatoes, onions, a couple of mangoes, comes to maybe 350 pesos. That's about $6. I come home, I fix things. I'm an electrician. I can't help it. I rewired Mang Celso's entire second floor as a thank you for the cheap rent, and now half the building comes to me when something stops working. Tito Gary, the outlet is sparking again. Tito Gary, the fan makes a noise. I don't mind. It's what I know how to do, and being useful is its own kind of medicine. In the afternoon, when it's too hot to move, I nap. A real nap. Not a guilty 20 minutes on the couch with one eye on the clock. A full, committed, hammock-swinging, afternoon-destroying nap. And if you'd told the version of me who was pulling 14-hour shifts in the dark, the version with the bad knee and the mortgage breathing down his neck, that someday he'd take a guilt-free nap on a Wednesday afternoon while the tropical breeze came through the window, he would have told you to stop making things up. And then there's Lorna. She's 48, she works at a small accounting office near the university. We met because Mang Celso's wife introduced us. Nane Feli decided I needed someone, the way she decided I needed champorado, and one Sunday she just showed up with this woman she described as, quote, my niece's friend who is very responsible, end quote. Lorna laughed when Nane Feli gave that introduction. I laughed too, and then we just kept making each other laugh. She wasn't looking for a foreigner. She was looking for someone who'd sit still long enough to have a real conversation, and I wasn't looking for anybody at all, which is apparently when people find you. She's got a son, Jason, 23, working in a call center in Cebu. She's got her own income, her own friends, her own life. She didn't need me. She chose me. And that distinction, at this age, means more than I can put into words. We've been together 2.5 years. She still corrects my Bisaya pronunciation every single day. She still laughs at the face I make when I eat bagoong for the first time each week, because apparently I never stop making the face. Here's what I need you to understand about where I was before I came here. Because the good part of this story doesn't land unless you understand the bad part first. In Scranton, the last 3 years before I retired, every single day was the same. I woke up at 5:15. I put on the same work boots. I drove the same route. I stopped at the same Wawa for the same coffee. I worked the same kind of job with the same kind of problems. I came home, I heated something up. I sat in front of the TV and watched whatever was on, not because I liked it, but because the silence was worse. And then I went to bed and I did it again. Every day was Groundhog Day, and the worst part wasn't the repetition. The worst part was that I couldn't see the end of it. I couldn't see a version of my life where the loop broke, where I woke up and didn't already know exactly how the day would go before my feet hit the floor. I wasn't broke. I want to be clear about that. I was making decent money, union scale. But every dollar had somewhere to go before I even earned it. The mortgage, the car payment, the insurance, the gas bill, the electric bill, the property taxes that went up every year like they were trying to set a record. There was nothing left. Not nothing as in I was starving. Nothing as in there was no room. No room to breathe, no room to think, no room to ask myself the question that I think a lot of men my age are afraid to ask, which is this it? Because if you ask that question and the answer is yes, then what? You just keep going? You just keep waking up and driving to Wawa and coming home and watching TV until one day you don't wake up? That's not a life. That's a holding pattern. Let me walk you through the money, because I know that's why a lot of you are here, and you deserve real numbers, not vague hand-waving. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a retired electrician from Scranton. This is just what I did, and you can draw your own conclusions. My Social Security check, $1,847. That's it. No pension, no investments, no side income for the first 2 years. Here's what my month looks like in Dumaguete. Rent, $190. Electric, maybe $45 on a hot month when I'm running the aircon more. Water, almost nothing, call it $3. Internet and phone, $30. Food for the two of us, cooking at home most days with a couple of dinners out on the boulevard, $280, $300. A nice dinner out, maybe $20, $25 with drinks and the guitar player, so call it $100 a month on going out. Lorna doesn't ask me for anything, but I help with Jason's phone bill and throw in when her mother needs something. Call that $80 on a normal month, more on fiesta months. Health costs and medicine, maybe $50 a month on average. And a cushion, $150, $200, for the surprises, the broken things, the favors, the soft gravity that pulls on your wallet when you're the American in a Filipino family. Add it all up, and I'm spending about $1,100 a month, which means every month after I have lived well, eaten fresh fish and mangoes, taken my woman out, helped the family, kept the lights on, and put gas in a scooter I bought for $500, I have got $700 left over, $700 a month in savings. A retired electrician from Scranton, Pennsylvania, saving $700 a month. I couldn't save $700 a year back home. Hold on to that. But I told you, the money isn't the best part, and it's not. The best part took me a year and a half to understand, and it hit me because of a waterfall. About 8 months in, I heard about these falls up in the mountains behind Valencia, a town about 30 minutes from Dumaguete by scooter, Casaroro Falls. People said it was beautiful, this narrow canyon with a single white column of water dropping into a pool so clear you could see the stones at the bottom. And I decided I was going to find it. So one Saturday morning, Lorna and I got on the scooter and we went up into the mountains. And I was on a mission. Classic Gary. The same way I'd approach a job site. Get there, get it done, get home, check the box. We drove for an hour. We took a wrong turn and ended up on a dirt road that went nowhere. We stopped and asked directions 3 times and got 3 different answers. We found a trailhead that turned out to be the wrong trailhead and hiked 20 minutes into the jungle before I realized we were heading the wrong way. 3 hours in and I still hadn't found the waterfall, and I was getting frustrated. That tight American time is money kind of frustrated. The kind where your jaw clenches and you start driving faster and you stop enjoying anything because all you can see is the task you haven't completed. Lorna, she could feel it. She knows my moods better than I do at this point. And we stopped at this little roadside store in the mountains, barely a shack, with a woman selling bottled water and boiled peanuts. And Lorna bought us each a bottle of water and sat me down on a plastic chair, and she looked at me. And she said something I have never forgotten. She said, "Baby, the waterfall has been there for 1,000 years. It's going to be there tomorrow, and next week, and next month. You are retired. You don't have to find it today." And I sat there with the mountain air, cooling the sweat on my neck, and the sound of birds I didn't know the names of, and I heard those words go through me like electricity through a wire. You don't have to find it today. And I realized something that cracked me open. I had been retired for 8 months, and I was still living on a clock. Not a real clock, not an alarm, but the ghost of one. The phantom clock that 34 years of shift work and deadlines and show up or get docked had burned into my nervous system. I was in paradise and I was still rushing. I was in a place with no schedule, no boss, no panel to wire, no inspection to pass, and I was still clenching my jaw and racing to check a box that nobody had drawn. That was the moment I started understanding what I actually had. Not cheap rent, not good weather, not mango for breakfast. Those are bonuses. What I actually had, what no amount of money can buy you in America, even if you've got plenty of it, was my own time. Completely, fully, without condition, my own time. Back in Scranton, even on my days off, my time wasn't mine. Saturday was for errands, for the hardware store, for fixing the thing that broke during the week. Sunday was for laundry and groceries and dread about Monday. A vacation was 5 days you spent 3 weeks planning and 2 weeks recovering from. My time always belonged to something: the job, the mortgage, the schedule, the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Out here, for the first time in my adult life, my time belongs to me. And that is not a small thing. That is the biggest thing. That's the thing underneath all the other things. The cheap rent and the warm weather and the good food. All of those are nice, but the reason they feel so good is because you experience them on your own time, at your own pace, without the clock breathing down your neck telling you it's over. Get back to work. We found the waterfall the next week, by the way. It was everything people said it was. But the best part of that trip wasn't the waterfall. It was that we took our time getting there, and I didn't care how long it took. I want to tell you about the best day of my retirement. And it's not the day I got my first Social Security deposit. It's not the day Lorna and I got together. It's not the day I found the waterfall or the day I caught a fish off the Boulevard Pier that fed 4 people. It was a Thursday, about 5 months ago. Nothing special about it. Lorna woke up and she said, "What's the plan today?" And I looked at my phone. I had messages. I had a couple of guys from the expat coffee group wanting to meet up. I had a neighbor asking if I could look at his wiring. I had an email from my daughter. Small stuff. Nothing urgent. But there it all was. A little pile of obligations sitting in my hand. Each one quietly telling me I had somewhere to be. And I looked at Lorna and I said, I don't want to do anything today. And she smiled the way she does when she knows I've figured something out. And she said, "Baby, you are retired." And I turned the phone off. Not on silent, off. The screen went dark and I put it in a drawer, and I didn't look at it for the rest of the day. And here's what we did. Nothing. We did absolutely nothing. I made us breakfast. Eggs and garlic rice, and these little dried fish called tuyo that stink up the whole apartment, but taste incredible with vinegar and chili. We ate slowly. I read a book, not on a screen, an actual paperback I'd picked up at a secondhand store near the university. Lorna watched one of her shows. We sat on the balcony together without talking for an hour, and it wasn't awkward. It was peaceful. Late afternoon, Nene Philly came up with Champorado, and we sat with her, and she told us about her grandchildren, and we listened. We cooked dinner together, nothing fancy, just adobo and rice, and we ate it at the little table by the window with the evening breeze coming in and the sound of the boulevard drifting up from a few blocks away. That's it. That's the whole day, and it was the best day of my retirement. Because here's what I understood sitting there at that table. The messages and the coffee dates and the neighbor's wiring problem, they'd all be there tomorrow. Just like the waterfall. Just like the marine sanctuary down the coast I still haven't been to. They'll be there. The whole point of this life, the whole point of the cheap rent and the small pension and the $4 fish dinner, the whole point is that tomorrow is yours too, and the day after that, and the one after that. For 34 years, I sold my tomorrows to a time clock. I traded them for a paycheck that was already spent before it arrived. And now, for the first time, I own them. Every one of them. And the best thing I can do with a day I own is sometimes absolutely nothing at all. Now look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you every day is perfect. Some days the power goes out for 8 hours. Some days the heat makes you want to crawl inside your refrigerator. Some days you miss snow. Real snow, the kind you grew up cursing, and you'd give anything just to see your breath in the air for 5 minutes. Some days you miss your daughter so much it sits on your chest like a stone. This life isn't a postcard. It's real. It's messy. The gecko in my bathroom has a name. His name is Berto, and he's been there longer than I have, and he's not leaving. The neighbor's rooster wakes me up at 4:30 every morning, and I've seriously considered becoming a man who eats rooster. And I'm a permanent guest in a country that will never fully be mine, renewing a visa every year, owning nothing in my own name, standing just outside the circle even though the people inside it have been kinder to me than I had any right to expect. But I'll tell you what it is. It's mine. The time is mine. The mornings are mine. The slow walk to the market is mine. The nap in the hammock is mine. The Thursday when I turned off the phone and did nothing, that was mine. And I don't think I understood until I came here that a life could belong to you. That retirement wasn't just the absence of work. It was the presence of your own time. If you're sitting somewhere right now, watching this, and your days all feel the same, and your time belongs to a clock, and you've got that voice in your head asking, is this it? I want to tell you something. It doesn't have to be. I'm not a guru. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a 66-year-old electrician from Scranton who wires his landlord's building for free and eats chocolate rice porridge on Sundays because a woman downstairs decided he doesn't eat enough. I'm nobody special. And if I can do this, you can too. The waterfall's been there 1,000 years. It'll be there tomorrow. Go find yours. If this story meant something to you, or if it gave you even a little bit of clarity about what this life could look like, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I'm going to keep telling these stories, the real ones, the messy ones, the ones with the geckos and the power outages, and the days where you do absolutely nothing, and it's the best day you've had in years. And if you've got questions, leave them in the comments. I read every one. I've got nothing but time.